Welcome to episode number 62 of About the Cards podcast, live tonight on YouTube. As always, I'm with my hosts at Junkwax Twin, Stefan Loeffler, at Our Trading Cards, Ben Wilson, and I'm Tim Shep. We're at Big Shep 79. We are a podcast by collectors for collectors, hoping to bring you a smart, insightful podcast about trading card collecting. We're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on YouTube, 10 Central. We're also live on Periscope and Facebook. What's up, Facebook and Periscope? I think our third weekend with you guys. So hopefully you're enjoying the show. And you can always check out the podcast version on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, Overcast, TuneIn, wherever you get your podcast, you can find us there. Check out the website, aboutthecards.wordpress.com. We have a couple of new reviews up by some new contributors. So check those guys out. We have some good stuff there. And make sure you get our gear. We have shirts and that Ben's wearing. Ben's wearing the shirt tonight. We have mugs and bags. And Steph's going to drop that link in the chat. But it's on spreadshirt.com. Just search About the Cards and you will find us there. We're very lucky tonight to have a special guest with us, Chris Carlin from Upper Deck. He's the Senior Manager of Customer Experience. And his handle's at Pete Incaviglia. And for those of you not old enough to remember the Pete Incaviglia fame of their mid-'80s, he was a home run smashing Texas Ranger. Chris, welcome to the show. How are you doing tonight? I think we have a little bit of a tech issue here with getting Chris through. We can see him. We're just not hearing him. So give us a second as we do that. Guys, how's your week been as we try to figure out our tech issue here? But how's your week been so far? Mine's been sad since Andrew Luck retired.
Yeah, it's good so far. Good, strong start to the week.
I'm doing great. It is awesome to be here, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, we have a slight delay there as you see Chris coming in. We apologize for that. We'll get this worked out. Yeah, so what are you saying, Steph?
Just a good start to the week. Start to the week. Good. I mean, what about you, Ben?
No, it's been fantastic. While we're waiting to see if we can get this, if I can show a quick mail day that just came in today. Our friend Tony, great dude, Tony's Hobby Vault on Twitter, sent a couple of packages that you boys are going to be getting here pretty quick. Next time I see you, Tim, I'll shoot those both your way.
Okay.
And then
sounds good.
He also sent me a Topps Living graded Jed Lowry, graded out of a 9. And this, a Jesse Hahn. This is pretty cool. This is a 101. That's pretty awesome. I mean, when I opened this up today and saw what Tony had given us, it's fantastic. I'll tweet out some pictures of everything in that so that we can share the love. Tony is absolutely a phenomenal dude. This is not the first time he's done this for us, so we definitely appreciate his generosity.
Check.
All right.
Check.
All right, Chris, how are we doing tonight, bud? So the Pete Incaviglia, where did that come from? All right, guys. Yeah, we're
still on a little delay.
Yeah, Chris, we're not being able to hear you at all. I'm not sure what's happening for us tonight. Let's do this. Let's drop out real quick, and then we'll bring you back in a sec if you can.
Well, let me ask this. It's going to be a little bit feedbacky, but it's better than having a however long delay.
Okay.
Should I try to Skype him in and just share my audio?
Yeah, let's try to do that.
Okay. Let's do that.
While you're working on that, Steph, is it okay if we just go ahead and move forward with?
I was gonna talk about a few things before we get into everything else. So
sounds good.
I'm wearing my Colts hat tonight, and Saturday it was awesome, and we're gonna talk about Saturday. Ben and I spent some time at the card show this past Saturday. Our first experience as dealers, and it was a good time. And I'm going out to dinner with my wife and a buddy of mine and his wife that we hadn't seen in a while. And on the way over, my phone's buzzing like crazy, but I'm driving, so I'm not paying attention to it. I'm thinking it's my fantasy football chat that's going on because we had a draft on the following Saturday or Sunday, and so whatever. I get to the restaurant and my phone just like Andrew Luck's retiring. What the hell's going on? And I went from having a great Saturday to just awful. And I understand. I think Doug Gottlieb's a little coward of a man for what he said about Andrew Luck. You can't make it's like when players talk about it, don't talk about other players' contracts because it's mind your own business. Stay that's not for you to be in. And the same with deciding if you're going to play football or not. And so to me, it was it was frustrating to see him come out and say that, to have Luck leave. But Colts are still probably going to be a playoff team with Brissett. And I'm hoping that, we can move on. Barry Sanders retired after 10 seasons. Jim Brown. There's been Lynn Swann retired early. There was a long list of players that retired for certain reasons. So let's see if we can bring Chris back in here, guys, and we'll get this worked out tonight. Technology's our friend. I've learned that over time, so we'll see what happens. All right, Chris, how we doing, bud? Yeah, it looks like you guys listening, we're just having some tech difficulties getting him on.
Well, and I know there was a podcast that I listened to that also uses StreamYard because they used to use Hangouts, and they were saying that yesterday they're having issues with connectivity, but I figured maybe it would have been done by now. So
yeah,
I'm thinking it's kind of on YouTube's end.
It might be. Let me see if I drop one of us out just real quick and see if that changes anything. Steph, hold on. You'll be back. It's just the two of us. What's up, Ben?
Hey, how's it going?
All right, let's see if Chris comes back. Chris, any better here? Let's see. Steph, are you there, bud? Sorry, guys. We're going to figure this out.
I sent him a email.
Okay.
Asking, hey, is there a Skype address we can reach you at?
Yeah, let's see if we can Skype that in, Chris. Let us know if that's a possibility, and we'll move on a little bit into the show, and we'll come back as soon as we get those technical difficulties worked out here. So we'll hop into the week that was last week's releases. Topps Living Week 76. We had card 226, Marcus Stroman, pitcher of the New York Mets. Card 227, Chris Paddock, rookie pitcher of the San Diego Padres, and card 228, Jorge Soler, outfielder for the Kansas City Royals. No numbers. Nothing was posted. But we all know that at Topps Living Stat on Twitter, we'll have a full breakdown of these cards and where they fall respectively in the set by team and position as soon as those are available, probably early tomorrow. 2019 Topps Archives also dropped, along with 2019 Panini Chronicles Baseball, Dumpster Fire, 2019 Panini Origins Football, 2019 Panini National Treasures Collegiate Football, and 1819 Upper Deck Ultimate Collection Hockey. And hopefully we'll get to talk to Chris about that soon. There we go. There's the hotline. So it was a solid week last week, I think, with some of those releases. Chronicles a lot of people like because of all the different stuff. I just think it's a anyway.
Real quick, because I got all of my A's cards this week, and I laid them out for my dad to show him why we're so tough on that why we're so tough on that release. Now, yeah, it's a dumpster fire, but if you just hold one of the cards, whether it's Spectra or Obsidian or Phoenix, you're holding them, man, they're nice. And the parallels are nice. I mean, if they did like a whole set of Panini Obsidian, man, would I be a buyer. That is a gorgeous card. But when you're putting them all on a page, and I don't have it all in front of me, it just looks bad. It's tacky.
Random cards, right?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like almost like Topps Archives, where you have all these multiple designs, but at least there's a little uniformity there, or at least you can understand that they're all still part of the same set. The problem with Chronicles is they're all 20 and 25 card insert sets.
Yeah, it's tough. All right, Steph, are we back, bud?
Here. Yeah, I'm working on it.
Okay, sounds good. Just let us know when you're ready. We'll hop into hot off the presses this week's new releases. Topps Living Week 77 already. Card 229, Bernie Williams, outfielder of the New York Yankees. Card 230, Griffin Canning, rookie pitcher of the Los Angeles Angels. And card 231, Adam Eaton, outfielder of the Washington Nationals. Bernie Williams is the fourth retired player, non-Hall of Famer, on the list. 3 of the 4 retired non-Hall of Famers are all Yankees. Ben, can you name them?
The retired Yankees?
The retired players in Topps Living that are not Hall of Famers. There's only 4. 3 of the 4 are Yankees.
It's just Bo Jackson is the only one that is not a Yankee.
Yes. But which ones are Yankees?
Now we've got Paul O'Neill.
Nope.
Don Mattingly.
Yep.
I know they made Mattingly. They made other guys too.
Derek Jeter and Bernie Williams.
Yeah, it would see, but Derek Jeter's kind of an asterisk because he's not there yet, but he will be.
I know, but as of the card coming out.
See, that's the thing is I wouldn't even have thought Jeter because I just assume he's a Hall of Famer. You know.
Yes, it's true. Jake from NorCal. Jeff Reardon was at the card show in Sac this weekend.
He was
selling non-sport cards. Yeah, it's a tough week this week. And Adam Eaton, as somebody says, it looks like Adam's been eaten a lot. He looks chubby in the photo, very chubby. So 2019 Topps 5-star comes out. He dropped today. 165 a box, 1 pack per box, 2 cards per pack, 2 autographs. It's a 77 card base autograph set. A majority of them featured on-card signatures. The only ones that don't have on-card signatures, well, they're cut signatures. 1-of-1 laundry tags, majestic patches, MLB silhouette logo patches, and team patch parallels. And there's also 10 celebrity cut autos in here. So what's really cool about the celebrity cut autos is they were, I think, Jimmy Carter was on there. Let me grab the list real quick. It was a who's who of some famous folks and the set that you can collect that don't really have a lot to do with baseball, but in life, people would have heard of them before. And as I say, I can't load it. So it's got a lot of double and triple auto. Here we go. Groucho Marx, Christopher Reeve, Douglas MacArthur, Dr. Seuss, George C. Marshall, George Dewey, Jimmy Carter, Joe Louis, John McCain, and my favorite, Robin Williams. So, but a lot of cut autos. They're all 1-of-1s. A lot of Hall of Famers. Ted Williams, guys even like Zach Wheat.
Is it Double X? Jimmy Fox, isn't he on there?
I believe no, he is not. I don't see Fox on here.
He was on one of the checklists.
Yeah, this is just the cut signatures. Ford Frick, Bobby Dorr. I'm just looking through here. Joe Medwick, Kirby Puckett. Who?
I don't know. Not a Hall of Famer.
No.
That's for sure.
Oh, that dropped today, and I watched some breaks of this. I mean, it's tough if you get a bad autograph at 165, and so you're looking at what $83 a card.
So
you pull an Aaron Nola and a Blake Snell.
I was just sitting with my dad, and we were talking about 5-star having come out. I looked earlier on eBay. I didn't put any on my want list because if I come across them at a good price, I'll buy them, but I'm not going to seek them out. And I had looked at the it's like Nick Martini, who just got claimed by the Padres, is $20, $15. I'm like, Matt Chapman 65, and I'm like, the prices are just ludicrous on some of this. And I was telling my dad, I was like, the way they used to be packed out were $500 a box. You got 8 of them. The last time I don't really look at the pricing of boxes all that often because it's just not important to me as a collector. That's not how I buy. And I was like, at that point, you got to be about $62 to $64 a card to break even, assuming that you're paying, $500 retail price for it. And then I realized looking at our show notes, I'm like, 2 cards, $165. Yeah, you got to be at $83 a card. No wonder they're asking for the Sky. People are going to lose money. Assume that they're getting 30% off. If you're buying multiple cases,
yeah, man,
you're gonna need to hit a home run if you plan on hitting your break even point, let alone your IRR. So.
Yeah. Jake from Orca asked, what's the worst auto you've ever pulled from product? I don't know, product looks like that for that reason. I much rather go and pick out the guys I want on the secondary market at a lower price point. I've seen some bummers of boxes before, and you know that it. So we lost some stuff. He'll be back, but you know that's why I stay away. I tend to stay away from that product. So
Yeah.
we also. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say with high-end products, you know, there's a chance to do okay, but you're gonna have to buy like anything, right? You got to buy in volume in order for it to make. You know, if we just ran over to the card shop right now, Tim, and we both threw in an $80 bill, and we bought a box, what are the odds of us clearing our $80 investment a piece, assuming that we're not keeping? I mean, now if we both bought 10 boxes combined, odds of us clearing is possible. But consider the fact that $165 at retail, I saw like a Mark McGuire numbered out of 10.
Me, can you hear? You may not be able to hear them.
Welcome back, Steph.
Hey, how's it going?
All right.
Chris, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Outstanding. Okay. Welcome in, Chris.
They can't hear you. 1 second, guys.
Check.
We could hear him.
But he can't hear you.
Okay.
What's up, Chris?
Here we go. You to you. Try saying something, Tim.
Hey, Chris, how's it going, bud?
And
Here, Tim.
let's see. Volume up on this. Try again, Tim.
What's up, Chris? How are we doing tonight?
Okay, I guess.
We're going to fix through the technology here. This is fun.
How about like that?
Hey, Chris, how are you doing tonight, buddy?
Hey,
there we go. Touchdown. It's been like, yeah, no, technology is our friend. I can hear you clear.
Hello?
Are you?
Dang it.
I can hear you good. You can't hear us?
Hey, you guys.
Can you guys hear each other now?
I can hear him.
I could hear. I just heard you. I heard Tim for a second.
Let me see.
I love technology.
We could always just get on the phone and talk and then tell everybody how good the conversation went.
Tim, saying something?
Who wants to hear Ben anyway? I love you, Rich Klein. You're the best, Uncle Rich.
I'm hearing him.
Okay, how about now, Tim?
All right, Chris, are you with us, bud?
I am.
Outstanding. Welcome. Like I said earlier, Chris Carlin, he's with Upper Deck. He's the senior manager of customer experience, and he's got a great Twitter handle at Pete Incaviglia.
Am I coming through okay?
Yep.
Yeah, they can hear you just fine.
And what's behind the Pete Incaviglia Twitter handle?
I heard Tim real quick, but I'm not hearing him now.
How about now?
Chris, what's with the Pete Incaviglia Twitter handle?
Let's do this. He was asking you, what's with the Pete Incaviglia Twitter handle?
We're going to do a little game of telephone. Yeah,
Yes.
so Incaviglia was one of my favorite players growing up. I had 3 older brothers, and we just we loved watching baseball. We loved collecting cards, and we loved the long ball. And Incaviglia was great because he'd either strike out or he'd hit it out of the park, and it was always fun to watch.
Yeah, he'd be really good for baseball today.
Kind of a true 3 outcome. Good for baseball today is what Tim said.
I'm going to let you go ahead and run the interview since it's a little bit better when I'm playing telephone.
Sure, that works. They're going to have me run it. Where did that window go? And
hey, Steph, you talk in the mic a little bit too. That'd help.
Yep, will do. Where did my questions go? Here we go. Cool. We're professional. So the first question I had for you was, tell us about your collecting history and how did it start, as a kid, or was it recent, or?
No, I grew up collecting. Again, I had my 3 older brothers, so they were a bit older than me, so they all found out about girls and left me their collections more or less. I kind of took them, they weren't around. So it was great, and I ended up right. I remember my mom still has a letter I wrote to Upper Deck when I was like 13 years old, asking if I could buy from them directly. And I finished up college, came back to California, had a buddy invite me down to live in Carlsbad with him. He had a great place, and I saw that Upper Deck was there, so I was like, "Holy heck! I gotta do whatever it takes to just get my foot in the door here, and I don't care what I'm doing." And I started off doing some stuff that wasn't really fun at all, but it allowed me to get into what I grew up doing and what I loved as a kid. And I couldn't believe that you could do this as a job. So I just worked my butt off and climbed the ranks, and been at Upper Deck for over 20 years now. So it's been a great run.
Very, very nice. I recently found my way into the hobby myself, at least as a paying job, and I absolutely agree. I can't believe that they let me do this for a living. So when did your career start with Upper Deck, and like what roles have you progressed through the company?
Yeah, so in '97 I started as a temp employee. It was me and two other guys. I was wearing a suit, and they were in cutoff jeans and like tank tops. And our job was an athlete signed his autograph cards using the wrong pen, and we had to carefully clean the backs of the cards because the SIGs bled onto the back of the cards. So I cleaned the hell out of those cards and moved on to our quality assurance department, then to our customer service department, then into sales. I had some sales background before that, so I was working on the retail side of sales, then managing the customer care division and managing part of our telemarketing sales. Moved out to Las Vegas to start us up out there, and then came back to handle marketing with a hobby. I had tons of experience dealing with hobby shops and collectors, so that was a great amount of fun, and did that for a number of years. And then about a year ago, I moved into a role of senior manager of customer experience. So handling a lot of marketing duties, handling a lot of social media, PR, but also our customer care group. And we've made some big strides to make sure that our customers feel valued and that they're still making us the collector's choice after 30 years.
Very nice. And definitely for certain products and even products in the past, you definitely are one of the collector's choices, key choice, if you will. So can you kind of give us an overview of hockey collecting in the current era, whether it be the rookie classes or the limited runs, or you have really nice, exquisite looking jersey patches compared to some of the other companies. Can you give us kind of an overview on that?
Well, yeah, there's a few things, and one of the reasons why I wanted to come on is I know a lot of your audience is baseball, and I grew up in baseball. I got involved with Upper Deck because of baseball, and then I learned some things about hockey card collecting in my time working with Upper Deck that were really interesting to me and opened my eyes to just how unique the hobby is on the hockey side. So first, with regard to rookie cards, the NHLPA has a very, very cool rule that you cannot make a rookie card of a player until they skate in an official NHL game. Now, why is that important? Because a lot of these kids are 18 when they're drafted, and they end up going back to college for 2 years. So you don't see them or hear about them for a couple of years, except for what's happening in the college ranks. But if you had, draft cards of them or rookie cards of them before they were actually doing something in the league, it's just prospecting craziness. It would be very, very difficult. So when the player is a rookie, when they're actually doing something in games and playing for an NHL team, what happens is there's a lot more interest, and we can put them in our full run of products starting with Upper Deck Series 1. which is why you'll see incredible values tied to Upper Deck's Young Guns rookie cards that come out in that set, Series 1 in November, and then Series 2 usually in the spring, March timeframe. It's pretty amazing to see the values on those cards, where it's just ink on paper. Granted, it's great photography. There's UV coating or hologram foil, but most of the time, you know, if you have a rookie card selling for $100, it's got an autograph or a memorabilia piece on it, or it's numbered to 99 or something like that. But with Upper Deck's Young Guns cards, you're seeing cards sell for 40, 60, 80, 100, 200. Connor McDavid's rookie cards are nuts. And it's just a standard trading card. And one of the reasons why is that rule. Now, if baseball had that rule, can you imagine? You know, there's so many young kids in baseball. There's only a few that come over and just perform right off the bat. It'd be a whole different ballgame. So for fans who have never thought about collecting hockey cards, that rookie rule is a huge deal because, again, the values that will be tied to the cards when the rookies are on the ice actually performing makes it a lot different than you'll see in most other sports. And then I guess you mentioned the jerseys. It's not that we have better jerseys or patches than other manufacturers. It's that hockey jerseys are way more colorful and unique than you'll see with like an NBA jersey or a baseball jersey or a basketball jersey. The Buffalo Sabres have this new jersey they're doing just for this season, and I can't wait to get some of those gamers in so we can cut them up for memorabilia cards. And the patches, like a patch from the Chicago Blackhawks, those cards are nuts. They look so crazy cool, and you'll find that there's a lot of interest in those cards. So that's a big deal. We do limited print runs on a lot of the hockey sets. But some of the other manufacturers do too. So that's not a huge deal. But one of the other things that makes hockey different than most other sports is the international collecting. For baseball, you've got kids coming in from the Dominican, which is cool, but there's not a ton of Dominican collectors out there right now. But with hockey, we've got people coming in from Sweden, Czechoslovakia, Russia. And you would be amazed by the amount of collectors that are overseas, probably even giving us a listener a watch right now, that love collecting hockey cards, love their players from their country. It's a lot more, it's kind of got a soccer feel where they're very loyal to players from their country. I've got a good buddy that I see at a lot of the shows who loves the Finland players. And he's always excited when there's a new big Finn that comes in. So that's very exciting too. So we've been able to open up that international market quite a bit more over the last couple of years with our Upper Deck e-Pack platform. So Upper Deck e-Pack allows you to open packs of cards from your phone, tablet, computer, any time of the day, anywhere in the world, as long as you've got internet. And what makes it different than most other apps is that it actually ties to real trading cards. We have the card you see that pops up with a red glow around it is an actual scan of the card that we have housed with Check Out My Cards. So we've been able to get a lot of fans overseas who didn't have a hobby shop right next to them to be able to collect now with e-Pack too. So there's a lot of really cool things that are happening with hockey in Upper Deck's products. But I think those are some of the coolest things, the coolest aspects that fans who love baseball may not have known about hockey cards.
Well, and that's something that I see being a wild collector. You know, I was born about an hour south of the Canadian border and about 45 minutes from University of North Dakota. So Grand Forks. But I know the area well, and you start to see some of the guys that come through, and you know you have players that people up there anyway that want to collect players that came through the University of Minnesota or that came through UMD, the Bulldogs, or University of North Dakota with Kane and everyone else that comes through there, or even the high school guys, because high school hockey is like football in Texas here.
Yep.
Huge.
Absolutely.
And I love that. And with being that close to the Canadian border, there's several scrimmage games against some of the Canadian teams. It's definitely different. I absolutely.
Patrick Walton, one of the unique things about him is he's a collector too, and we had him at an event not too long ago where he told us all about the cards that he collected growing up, and we opened up some packs with him after the event. And I said, Patrick, let's open up some packs and we'll share them with the dealers here. And he didn't quite understand. And I started taking them away to share with some of the fans that we had in attendance. And he said, what are you doing? I thought these were all mine. So it was a lot of the hockey players are just as big of fans as the collectors out there.
It's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, just exactly what Tim said here. We had two questions here from chat. One, favorite all-time set, both Upper Deck or non-Upper Deck?
Favorite all-time set? That's a tricky one. Everyone knows the 89 Upper Deck. I liked some of our early SP Authentics for baseball. Exquisite line totally changed things with regard to basketball in particular. Whew. I'd have to say probably Goodwin Champions, the first year we came out with that product. It's a really great throwback type set. I just love all the quirky content in there. It's a great product to open up with your kids. There's insert sets in there that are I know a lot of wives and moms collect as well. So it's just got a little bit of something for everyone. And I remember when we came out with the first set, it was like, this is pretty weird because we had a lot of interesting content. We still do, but that's what makes the pack opening experience so much fun. And I did send you guys some for next week. I hope you enjoy it and have that type of experience. But there's just something unique in that product for pretty much every type of collector, I think. So that's been my favorite set to come along because it's got a bit of something for everyone.
Well, and as soon as I'm not screen sharing that, I'll share some of the images here. And I know Tim's looking forward to sharing that in a future video here.
Yes, we're going to do a video, a special standalone video, I think, of that stuff. So
yeah, he's planning a special standalone video. So, and you'd mentioned it, a good one in particular. I really like the kind of rainbow effect that you guys have on the base cards this year, because as soon as people break them, we start to see them from people that are trying to consign them. So I get to see a little bit of that every day, and it's one of the joys of the job. In that, it's nice to see 52 Tops, 53. 1989 Upper Deck, all of these sets, and actually I just put in a Griffey rookie this morning, but it's nice to see the new product, not necessarily something that I won't break yet.
Cards are really pretty. They really pop, and sometimes, and I'm sure you see this too, you'll see scans of a card or images of a card, but sometimes when you see some of these cards in person, it's just way different, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. I saw it at the National. Several people broke them, and then me and Tim actually broke his first box of Upper Deck hockey for the first time in forever. Yes. And he really enjoyed it. He pulled several key rookies, Carter Hart, the guy from Major Key Rookie. Can't think of his name.
Oh, Pedersen.
Pedersen, yeah. He pulled two of his. Unfortunately, no Dahlin. I would have traded him for it, tooth and nail, but is what it is.
Yeah, I love those young guns. I pulled 6 young guns in one box of series too.
So awesome. We heard about that. I was really stoked to hear that Big Chef was dipping his toe in the water, so to speak. So I wanted to come on and tell him that he's making the right moves. It's a really good time for hockey. I think with this year, with a player like Jack Hughes coming in for the Devils already have a really stacked team. He's going to be in a great spot for success. And, it's been a while since we had, probably back since Matt Murray took the Pittsburgh Penguins all the way to the Stanley Cup, that we've had rookies do some things in the playoffs. I think we're poised to see some big rookie performances in the playoffs this season for sure.
Well, and that's actually a question that me and Rich pondered earlier today. We saw on the back of one of the cards it had info saying that Matt Murray was one of the first rookie Stanley Cup winners. Yeah. And we came across a news article that said there were 6 other people. And it's kind of interesting to do some research. And I guess he won 2 in his technical rookie year, in that he won at the very end of March and then won the next year as well with the Penguins.
Yeah.
But we had another listener question about where did the picture go here? As far as what's on the horizon with the James Bond cards.
007.
How many releases you're thinking of this year, or anything you want to share?
Well, first it's important to know that Upper Deck does these entertainment releases. We've got deals with Marvel. We've got deals with 20th Century Fox. We've got the Alien franchise, Predator, and now we brought on James Bond. And the great thing about those is that there's just such a rabid fan base for some of those films, and we're really seeing that again on the EPAC platform, where fans may not have a comic shop that has the Marvel cards, or a shop that does some celebrity stuff that has Bond, but now you can do it right at upperdeckepac.com. So that's pretty cool. But what I like about the Bond product is that we're taking it a few different directions. We have the standard trading card release that just came out, which is great. I went to an event called Gen Con during the National. I left the National
in Indy,
and that's where all the gaming takes place. So we have a new Bond game that we debuted there that's going to be hitting here shortly that was very well received. So that's kind of fun because you can play as James Bond, and we are planning some expansions for that in the future as well. But I guess the only tidbit I can give him, I haven't gotten the green light to announce our next Bond release yet, but look for it to involve the bad guys. And there are plenty to draw from for that. So that would be my little tidbit for that.
That's going to be a fun set.
Interesting. And especially with the 25th movie coming up, it's a nice time for that.
Time to die. Yeah, it'll be great.
So is that Gen Con Indy then?
Yes.
Very nice. There was a D&D / live action movie that was on Netflix briefly, but they did a lot of their filming for their sequel at Gen Con Indy, so I'm well versed.
It's a scene, man. It is a different world out there, but it's great to see so many people so passionate about gaming and entertainment.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I associate with Upper Deck is your amazing photography, and it's always been a staple from the initial 89 Upper Deck set through to some of the more recent, like 2006 Upper Deck, I think, had strong pictures. And several of the, now moving into hockey, especially a lot of those really fast, super speed motion shots create really, really amazing cards. And another reason to bring this up, one of our friends that we recently had on the show, I think, is your pack photo for SP.
Yeah.
So I guess we were kind of looking for like your insight as far as what you look for in photography, and what you think makes a perfect photo.
Yeah, I think photography, you're absolutely right, has been one of the key tenets to what's made Upper Deck successful over the years and made our products stand out. I see that all the time when monitoring Twitter, just people's appreciation for some of the early stuff, and then stuff that as we've evolved throughout the years. But we just had an event in Virginia called the NHLPA Rookie Showcase, where we had a variety of photographers out there, and they are absolutely incredible. The links that these guys and gals will go to get the shot, and they'll put the players through the motions, but we were doing things with dark ice and different lighting effects, and they're on their bellies, on the cold ice, trying to get the great shot and give collectors a different look at a trading card. I always think it's awesome when you can have a photo that delivers a lot of excitement and interest in a trading card. So we're going to have quite a few of those. We had the Hughes brothers take and you can have fun with it too. We had the Hughes brothers take a Step Brothers like photo, and Quinn and Jack Hughes are two of the top NHL rookies for this trading card season. So to have them, we're going to have a product called Sibling Sensations that comes out for an event we have called Family Day, and that'll be one of the quirky, fun cards in there. But we'll have other brothers that are skating on the ice together, but we like to have a little fun with it too. And one of the cool things that we're doing this season in particular with a photographer, someone that I think comes on the show sometimes and maybe might be listening right now, is Nick Wasika.
Mm-hmm.
That's who I meant. Yep.
Wasika?
Yep, that's who I meant.
Yeah, so we are having Nick film a actual video series behind the lens, more or less, of what it's like being a photographer for working with Upper Deck, and what it's going to be like to bring Jack Hughes' first rookie cards to the market. So we had Nick out at that rookie showcase event, and he's going to give collectors a really cool take and a really nice behind-the-scenes look at what that is like.
That sounds amazing. Looking forward to seeing it from you and Nick and everyone else. So one of the two of the questions that we always ask every guest. So if you could only own one card that you currently own, what card would it be?
One card that I currently own or currently do not?
Currently own.
Currently own some of the. It's pretty easy. I've been able to make some personalized cards of my kids that are Upper Deck that I love, that are just awesome. But I'm in the market. My son is like a Titanic savant. Like, he's just crazy. He reads everything he can about the Titanic. So we produced in one of that first Goodwin Champions sets. We got coal from the Titanic, encapsulated it, and put it into trading cards. So I'm on the hunt for one of those Titanic relic cards for him. So he and I will watch eBay and look for those, but they don't pop up too often, unfortunately.
No, I've seen a few of those. Those do look amazing, and if I see them again, I'll let you know. And then so the other half, if you could only own one card that you don't own, selling off all of the rest, what card would that be?
Oh, man. You know what I really liked, and they just were so impressive to me when I started working at Upper Deck, were the first jersey cards that came out starting in 96 and 97. They just were, they're so simple now. They're thin, and they feel kind of flimsy compared to today's jersey cards. But I remember dealing with them, and I was just blown away at how innovative this company was being, because there had never been game jersey cards, and they're rolling out whole sets. Started with football, and then came baseball and basketball and hockey, and it was just this. I remember working for Upper Deck at the time, saying, like, these guys are still innovating, and really that's been one of the things that. So yeah, in answer to your question, probably a set of those first ones, or maybe the Griffey, I guess. But I just thought those were such game changers. And then to be working with Upper Deck when they continued to innovate and do crazy things like that, whether it be cut signatures or the first video trading card, or I started off and they were doing audio cards and then CD-ROM cards. A lot of the ideas are probably ahead of their time, but it's just really fun working at a place where we are always pressed to innovate. And if you think about it, it's not easy to constantly reinvent a 2.5 by 3.5 canvas, but we've been pretty successful at doing it quite frequently over the years and being the first to market to do so. So, yeah, I just really like a lot of the innovative cards that we've done over the years.
I completely understand. I, in particular, had one of the Scott Rowland CD-ROM cards that you mentioned.
Yeah.
But it was kind of a cool set. I'll give you guys that for sure. But so kind of burn through our questions. Do you have any questions for us before we let you go?
Well, this football season is going to be a tricky one without luck. I feel so bad. But I guess that goes to show you in this day and age with regard to collecting, just how careful you have to be about who your personal collection is. Football, I remember, when I was growing up and when I started working for Upper Deck, it was the running backs. It was the Terrell Davis, and they'd have a long storied career and stay with the same franchise. Marshall Faulk was great. He had two teams, but and that doesn't happen as much anymore. So it's really tricky in that you have to be a little more careful about how you collect, because Andrew Luck, amazing player, but what does that do to his card values and rookie card values? What do you guys think?
Well, yeah, we're gonna talk about that a little later in the show. As just a fan of the Colts and Andrew Luck, I'm very disappointed and saddened. But it happened with Barry Sanders. It's happened before, and you got to get through it. But I have a feeling his prices will drop, which is for a collector, it's okay. But his Hall of Fame chances are probably out the window, and he's never gonna have a Super Bowl championship now, and so that's kind of painful. So,
well, and who knows? Maybe he comes back for the XFL next year.
That's what I was been saying all along. He's gonna go help his dad out. Yeah. So
awesome. Well, we should look to hope to have you on in the future. Maybe closer to hockey start. If that's good with you.
Yeah, or maybe around National Hockey Card Day. Really fun event that we do. But absolutely, let's stay in touch. Let's not make this a one-time thing. We like what you guys do, and we hope to be a part of it again.
Awesome. And when National Hockey Card Day?
National Hockey Card Day is in February, early February 2020. It's on the same date as the Stadium Series. So it's a lot of fun when you've got an outdoor game going on, and then folks can go out and get some free hockey cards before the game starts. And we do a lot on social media that day. Always a great time.
Awesome. Cool. Well, nice talking with you, Chris, and hope to hear from you soon.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, pleasure, guys. Sorry about the technical difficulties. It's great being on the show.
It happens. Thank you very much. That was Chris Carlin with Upper Deck. We said earlier he's the senior manager of customer experience, and it's great to have someone on the show and reach out and talk hockey, get us a little educated on what we're doing in the hobby, or what they're doing in the hobby, and as one of the first real innovators, that company, the foil packs, the tamper-proof packs. We all know about the 89 Upper Deck set. It's pretty crazy. So we appreciate that. He also mentioned about Goodwin Champions. Yeah, he said he sent me a goodie box of stuff we're going to open on the show tonight, but it's not going to get here until tomorrow, unfortunately. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a standalone video where we're going to open the product to talk about it. And then what we'll do is we're going to give away the cards on next week's show. So check that out. We'll tweet it out and share it, obviously, with all of you, so you can come and enjoy those products with us. And I can learn hockey. I'm looking for a hockey team. I put a poll out, and a lot of people were mentioning teams that weren't on the poll. I was going on logo only, and I have a feeling I'm leading one way versus the other, but we will see. We're going to hop back into what hot off the press is this week's new releases. So we have 2019 Panini Absolute Football, dropped today, $170 a box, 3 packs per box, 5 cards per pack. You're going to get 1 Rookie Premier Materials autograph, 2 additional autographs, and 2 mem cards. It's a 240 card base set. The checklist is available as of this evening. Rookie Premier Material is most sought after auto in the set, with several versions and variations, some with as many as 5 jersey relics or mem pieces in them. There's also another cool head-to-toe insert series that goes beyond the jersey. So if you can imagine what that is, what those are. And then the Kaboom inserts are going to be in Absolute Football as well, which are really, really cool. They had the downtown ones for basketball and Kaboom inserts for football. So I was going to pull that up and kind of show you what these look like. But Absolute is, again, the name kind of says it all. You have your high-end relic patches and multiple versions of them. You're going to have the players in their current rookie year jerseys on the new teams. So there's the head to toe. You got a little jersey or a little helmet and a little cleat, I think it is. So with Jerry Rice on the Raiders. Ugh.
How's the audio?
Oh, you sound great. It was good. So
I had to move some audio stuff around, but
yeah, no worries. I appreciate the tech specs there, Steph. Yeah, there's the Kaboom Brady. Those are just sick. Those are awesome. Totally 1990s insert love with the Kaboom series. By the way, that is the longest you'll ever hear Ben and I be silent.
right.
So we do appreciate Chris coming on. Tech problems happen all the time. I'm glad we have Steph on the show to help us out and get through those. 2018-19 Panini Obsidian basketball also dropped today. $120 a box, 1 pack per box, 5 cards per pack. You're going to get 2 autos. You're going to receive 2 parallels or inserts and 1 base card. It's an online only product. It's not taking the traditional hobby and retail distribution as it's only available through Panini's website. It's the first solo release ever of Obsidian, which provides a darker chromium experience with a black background. And they also have the rookie jersey autographs, which are available. All of them are numbered in 79 or less. But guess what, guys? There's no checklist. As of 8 o'clock Pacific time.
Is this a first for Panini?
No checklist. But the cards look awesome.
No, the Obsidian, I just mentioned it earlier when we were kind of dealing with our technical difficulties. The Obsidian was featured in the Baseball Chronicles, and it's a phenomenal card. So, and the screenshot that Steph just shared, I mean, they're beautiful. It's going to be a solid set.
Who knows who's in it, right?
Yeah, we don't know who's on the cards, but the cards are going to be fantastic.
Yeah. So,
well, it's not like Panini was having issues with their internets, right?
We're going to talk about that later. We're going to brew into what's brewing. Next week's release is 2019 Topps Luminary. Hope you saved your dollars. 2019 or 2019-20 2019-20 Panini Contenders Draft Picks Basketball. We can talk about that later. 2019-20 Upper Deck O-Pee-Chee drops the first hockey release of the new season. Exciting for both those products. So, yeah, Infield chatter.
Hey,
Panini,
real quick.
Yeah.
I thought we said Bowman Chrome was coming out next week on the 4th.
Yes, it might be. Or is it the 7th? Yeah, it might have gotten pushed again because I just checked this, so I might have gotten kicked off. I'll have to go back and look.
Yeah, I have it on my list as the 4th, and I'm just curious.
Yeah, I think it did. I think it did get pushed.
Let's take a look at Blowout real quick.
Yeah. So
yeah, the 11th. It looks like okay. My mistake.
Yeah, pushed a week. Infield chatter, Hobby Talk section. Panini America, first off the line, 2019-20 Contenders basketball draft picks. The first Zion rookie cards. Boxes were 130 on their site only. This is that they offer the first off the line, and their site last Thursday after the show, Thursday morning, their site crashed, and they posted an overwhelming demand for this product. This caused our service to crash, and we temporarily postponing the release of Contenders Draft Picks Collegiate Basketball. We apologize for the inconvenience. We will relist this product soon, and we'll provide everyone with a 24-hour notice prior to launch. So that was today, and it was a cluster again today, and it was hard, and nobody could get it, and it sold out. My favorite tweet of the day about it was John Newman tweeted out FOTL, familiar outcome, try later. For first off the line initials, which was great. Everybody's trying to take nobody was okay. So It's Contenders draft picks, so they're in their college uniforms. It's usually not a hot product, but the fact that it's the first one with Zion and his autographs in there, everybody's all excited about, and they go, hey, I can double, triple my money if I can get these first off the line boxes. No one's ever going to open the product because everybody's going to be trying to resell it and double or quadruple their money. I just think it's hilarious.
So, breaking news here. The Obsidian checklist is out.
Okay, but it was not on.
Correct.
As we went live, I checked.
No, check my screen share.
Let's see what it says.
Oh, that's right. There's nothing.
Oh,
It downloads, but there's no numbers, no name.
Funny guy.
Oh.
Look, Panini's playing tricks, almost as if it was April Fool's. So close.
Anyway, I just think it's funny. Last week we talked about the 1989 Pro Cards Keith Comstock, the one race on the Las Vegas Stars, and Cracknell posted everybody was tweeting about it. ESPN had the article on it. It's selling for like $100 to $150 because of an ESPN article.
Sold, not best offer.
Yeah, sold.
Yeah.
Sold.
Trust me, at the show last week, I was looking just to see if anybody had it, because why not? If there's going to be stupid buyers out there, then there should be awesome sellers.
You can flip it for $150.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one at auction last week that was like $362 or something like that. I mean, like a day left. Yeah.
I got disconnected, bud.
I'd be surprised to know how many of these actually have been paid for, not sold, but paid for, no chargebacks or anything.
Yeah.
There's no way this card.
360?
Yeah, 360. I just said that.
I'm sorry.
Tim, if you're listening to the show, Ben just said that.
No, I was sorry. I was just looking at
It's
the
ridiculous.
My eyes fell out of my head. My ears stopped working.
It's a quarter card that people are buying. Let's just move on.
Yeah, we lost Steph's audio too, so we're having a fun tonight. Ryan Cracknell of Beckett also posted an article on the 1990 Fleer Jose Uribe, and I just took some excerpts from it. If you want to go on eBay right now, you'll find dozens of them for asking prices ranging from a few dollars to thousands of dollars. Yep, Beckett Marketplace is a little more reasonable with copy starting at 35 cents. It's a common card. The 1990 Fleer Jose Uribe isn't a short print. It's not an heir in the vein of the 89 Billy Ripken, unless it happened in some sort of parallel universe that only a couple of people will know about. Jose Uribe was never a star to the point where an easy-to-find seventh-year card would be worth exponentially more than anyone else on the checklist. It's a joke. It's the same for that guy, Alex Madrid, in, was it 89 Donruss?
Donruss, yeah.
It's all BS. People are stupid. So don't buy into the hype.
If you want one, I can send you one.
Yeah, I mean, I have like 6 or 8 just sitting right behind me. So, yep. I wish we could ask Chris this tonight, but we had the tech difficulties. Upper Deck Sports tweeted out that they received a letter from
this.
We got a lot of fan mail here at Upper Deck, but fan letters from kids are the best. We actually like this 9-year-old's idea. What do you think? Oh, and how do you think we should reply? This kid named Andrew is 9, told them that they need to make a hockey card and call it mirrored cards in the front, and then you'd have a player, and on the other side you have a mirror and the team. He says where to put the team logo, the player name, the stats, all of that stuff. If you could make this hockey card, it would be great, but if you can't, that's okay. I mean, this thing, Chris talked about writing to Upper Deck about buying them directly. This is amazing right here. I love this. This made me laugh, and this is something I would have done as a kid. And someone on here, Brian Peoples, on Twitter, actually made a card that kind of is a Connor McDavid, which is the player he listed. And I think it's a good-looking card, and I think Upper Deck needs to put this as an insert in something.
I think they need to make that a card too, like a short print.
Right.
Oh, yes. The letter?
Yeah, the letter. Just put that down, or make it an oversized box topper.
Or make it in the back.
The back would be perfect. Yeah.
So you have the card with the player and all that stuff, but on the back you leave out the stats and you put this kid's letter.
Let's get Chris back on the line and propose
Yes.
that. He needs to. That would be a fantastic.
Well, you know what the cool thing is Chris says he actually listens and watches the show.
Right.
Even before they reached out for him to, they reached out to us. And I was like, dude, whoa, Upper Deck wants to hang out and wants to be on the show and want to have Chris come on. So I thought that was pretty cool. And the fact that he actually listens and they have guys there listening is pretty sharp. So I got excited and messed up the camera here tonight. God, we're having all kinds of fun tech stuff. So
Tim needs another cold shower.
yes, very excited. As you can see tonight too, I'm wearing my Korean cardboard T-shirt I got from my buddy Dan. So thank you, Dan. It's amazing. Yeah, and so so it's just that's a pretty cool thing. Tan Man at Tanman BB fan, Tanner Jones, our buddy, had an awesome tweet this week. More of a curious question than anything, but but which would you rather have as a collector? Both are quad, both have laundry tags. Pujols is numbered out of 5 and licensed, but Canseco is signed in 1 of 1 unlicensed. Would you prefer of your favorite players? So he put up a card. Neither of are his cards, but you have a Pujols card with 4 jersey swatches. It's numbered out of 5, and it's all licensed and everything. Or you have an unlicensed Canseco that's autographed. It's a 1 of 1 with 5 mem pieces. What would you really prefer?
Yeah, they're both fantastic cards, right? But the Pujols is not unique. There are 4 similar ones. Obviously it's numbered out of 5, and there's no autograph. It's going to say St. Louis Cardinals or it's going to say Los Angeles Angels on it, but that's it, right? Especially in that particular card where his picture is not even fully colorized. As far as the A's one goes, let's insert your favorite player here. It's a 1 of 1, which is already cooler than out of 5. It's got an autograph where the other one doesn't, and it's an auto relic. So really, it comes down to if they were both licensed, which one would you rather have? It's an easy question. So his follow-up question: does the license really matter? It's got to be the unlicensed one. It's just a better card. It's a 1 of 1. It has an autograph. There's nothing about the out of 5 that's cool.
Okay, well, say they both were 1 of 1. Say everything was equal on the cards. They're both 1 of 1s. They both have the patches. They both have an autograph. One's licensed. One's not licensed.
Well, sure, you want the license, but just look at those cards right there. Let's say
if the Pujols was licensed, then the same Pujols numbered out of 5 was autographed, because that's the only thing that's different. It has a license but not autographed. But say it was autographed versus the non-licensed 1 of 1. Which would you rather have?
Well, yeah,
the licensed one.
Sure. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, you're giving up the autograph and the fact that it's a 1 of 1 versus an out of 5 simply because it's licensed. For a second, you have to suspend that it's Pujols versus Canseco. It's your guy versus your guy, right? Name anybody out there listening. Name your 2 favorite guys,
Posey and George Brett.
Yeah. Okay. So would you rather have even go George Brett versus George Brett? You could only own 1. Would you take the quad relic out of 5 with a license, or the auto relic 1 of 1 with no license?
If I could only own 1 and they both were Brett, I would take the autograph.
Yeah, and it's a 1 of 1, and you get 4 relics. Both of them, you get 4 relics.
So they're virtually identical outside of the numbering and the auto. If the Pujols had an auto, because that was a question Tim asked,
thank you,
I'd go with whichever one had the nicer looking patches or the nicer looking design.
Yeah, because that portraits card is butt ugly. I'm sorry. I'm not a fan.
I'm on the opposite end.
Looking at bed in the morning.
Right.
Yeah. I don't like that card at all. But hey, the beauty of this question is we're all going to have different answers.
I think you've been blinded by too much 1991 Fleer jersey colors.
Blinded by the lights.
No, the portraits card just generic and ugly to me. Yeah. I like the Canseco looking card, and not because it's an A's card. I just think it's a better. The other assumption too is, are they relatively the same cost? Because that does play into it as well. If I can get the Canseco for $50 and I can get the Pujols for $75, You know?
Yeah, Aaron K agrees. He goes, I hate unlicensed Panini cards, but this example, the Canseco is a much nicer card. Yeah.
See, and that's somebody who's already looking at it with a biased eye. I don't like the Canseco. Just before you've turned it over and showed it to me, I already don't like it because I already know it's unlicensed. The beauty is there's no right or wrong answer. But
no, it was a good question though.
It is. It's how we look at things. And even though the answers might be the same, in other words, we all agree on one versus the other, our reasoning, like Steph's reasoning, he's going to look at the patches. I can't stand. I've got a Cespedes here. Look at this booklet. It's out of 10.
Why is it all white?
Okay, check this out though. They made.
I love his jersey in the picture though.
They made 2 pictures. Okay, this one is also out of 10. And there's 3 white, and then you have a multicolored one. They're both out of 10, as you can see. The photo of Cespedes are different, and these are out of museum collection, so it's still a higher end product. It's just that's ridiculous. Come on, man! This nice book, 7 of the 8 patches are white.
Come on, man!
I would take an unlicensed one all day long if they gave me better patches. I don't have one sitting up here on my desk. Otherwise, I'd show you one. I probably have one in my bedroom, but. The beauty of card collecting is there's no right or wrong answer. We all collect for different reasons. The aesthetics, I've got to have the one of one. It's something I need to complete my rainbow.
So we talked about this earlier. Andrew Luck retired, 29 years old, star quarterback of the Colts.
For now.
He said he's citing mentally. He's mentally worn down, lost his love of football. I did joke that he was going to do this because his dad's the CEO of the XFL, that he's going to go join the XFL and Landry Jones and be a quarterback. I guess my 14-1 odds of them winning the Super Bowl ticket, I should just throw in the garbage right now because I think it's like 60-1 or whatever. How do you think, and Chris brought this up, how do you think him retiring at 29 with a year and a half of injury in his career since 2012, where he lost a full year and then half of a year where he wasn't, and then he played a whole year hurt. How do you think this affects his cards? He's never going to win a Super Bowl. He didn't play long enough probably to be a Hall of Famer because he doesn't have the Super Bowl in there. So how do you think this affects his overall card value as the darling of the 2012 draft class?
Well, and this is the thing that we always bring up when it comes to prospecting, in that you never know how someone's going to pan out, for one. 2, someone might have 1 great year, 2 great years, but then they don't pan out further. Or 3, they go out, blow out their knee. We say, and knock on wood, this more frequently in baseball with Trout or Acuna or anybody else of the huge prospecting world. But, look at Judge. He's nowhere near what he was in 2017. Not to say his cards aren't collectible, but in Andrew Luck's case, yeah, exactly. Now that he's retired, he's pulled the Barry Sanders, the Robert Smith, the everyone else. It's just, one, a shame. But hey, he's going out on his own, and screw what that other guy said. Health over a game. Mental health and personal health over a game. Yeah. Screw that.
I love it.
Cards are going to tank.
Hammered him.
Yeah, somebody asked on Twitter, Monday or Tuesday, and it said something to the effect of, how do you see the valuation of his cards? Is it something you should sell or something you should hold? And so, first off, obviously we're not going to get into a rant about, if it's part of your PC, you shouldn't be selling at all. But right now, do not sell at all. Because everybody and their brother is going to look to liquidate and cash out right now. And the market's going to get flooded. As our friend Tim said, if you're watching the live stream, a $1,500 card just tanked to $400.
I have to pick one.
Just said it right now.
Yeah. If you're a buyer, like okay, for Tim's a perfect example. I collect Luck. I'm a Colts fan right now, and I'm not certain that you don't want to buy. If you ever watched Trading Places at the end, when the brothers are watching and they're trying to just cash out, and it just keeps dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping. They just want to take whatever they can for it. I mean, that's a perfect analogy of what's happening right now. The market is going to be flooded. Just like on the other turn, Jacoby Brissett's going to be flooded for people trying to capitalize on his newfound fame and status as the number one quarterback. Right now is not the time to sell Andrew Luck, and right now is not the time to buy Jacoby Brissett. Wait for another day. You know, right now we are in the fire.
That's his first bad game. Then buy.
Yeah, I mean,
he's going to be a good player, but again, too, I can't believe his prices have jumped like they have, and he's all in Patriots gear, which for Colts fans, it could have been any other team besides the Patriots. You know, and it's somewhat you can swallow it a little bit, but it's the Patriots, and anyway.
And it goes back to my old point. If you didn't want it yesterday,
why do you want it today?
Why the hell do you want it today? Come on now. Think.
So I have a question for you guys. Do you think it'd have an overall effect on the hobby, such as collectors prospecting on young players, young stars in such a dangerous game? So football is more dangerous than basketball, than baseball, and even more so than hockey. Well, okay, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like the hockey and football are very close to each other.
Right.
But baseball and, you know, we talked about tonight, and hockey is not as big of a collecting world in the United States, where basketball, baseball, and football kind of all battle each other out. But
well, it's kind of regionalized, right?
Yes. But so how do you feel like in a dangerous sport like football, prospecting young stars, especially quarterbacks, even though they're protected, do you think this will have somebody second guessing themselves about dropping money on a Baker Mayfield or a Lamar Jackson or, Kyler Murray?
Yeah. I pulled up an old Bleacher Report, just a quick Google search. There was an old Bleacher Report article from 2012 that has the average career length of each of the four major sports. So it's a little outdated, but the MLB and NHL are both at 5.5 years as of these numbers. The NBA is right below at 4.8. So you could argue that, 5 years, give or take. The NFL is at 3.5.
Yeah, I believe it's even lower than that now. I think it's around 2.5.
I was surprised that it was actually that close. And the other thing, too, to remember is look at the positions. Quarterbacks typically have very long careers. Kickers and punters, look at Vinatieri. For every guy that's a one and done in the NFL, you get a Vinatieri. That pulls that back together. And so you have these kickers like the Andersons and things that are 20 years in. And
Gary Anderson, you're going to put Steph in a coma.
I have enough vodka and torches to burn every Gary Anderson you send me. But, sorry, Dub.
When you look at it, let's say that the NFL is probably closer to 3 and the other sports are closer to 5+. Yeah, if I prospect a guy in Major League Baseball and he turns out to be a star, I can watch this guy's career for the next 12 years potentially, right? A couple guys are going to fizzle out. And then when you look in the NFL, there's so many guys. I mean, there's 90 guys in every camp right now. Almost half those guys are not going to have a job next week.
Yep.
And
Aaron says, he's less inclined to prospect on football, which is true. Baseball is probably where a lot of people prospect, and even basketball too. But again, the basketball guys come in right away. And within the first year or two, what's going to happen. We have a friend, Van the Man, who is a very close family friend of Marquise Chris, who was a first-round pick by the Kings, traded on draft day to the Suns, who then was traded to the Rockets after a year and a half, who ended up on the Cavs last year, who's now out of basketball. I don't even think he's on the Cavs this next year, or he's on the cusp of not making the team. And he's been in the league 3 years as an 18 or 4 years as an 18-year-old first-round pick. And
it's a lot more. I mean, I don't know if we want to argue the semantics of which one has a higher attrition rate. Let me ask you guys this, though. Football, if we're talking about football prospecting, you cannot prospect quarterbacks. You take them out. Now, how do you feel about prospecting with football?
I'm going to prospect those kickers. Justin Tucker, baby.
Yeah, you should.
So,
Man.
it's just interesting. I'm very sad, but you can feel sorry for me. Plus, I had him on my dynasty team where I'm the returning champion. Yeah, but I do have Goff and Winston, and so yeah, nobody cares who's on your fantasy team. Blowout Forums again blowing it up. So there's a post in Blowout Forums listing sellers that are to be alleged trimmers selling cards on ComC. And our buddy Cards from the Attic, who I swear was Ben's burner account for a long time, who's angrier than Ben, said this is going to be a fun thread over on Blowout. You're going to want to jump in now before it gets to too many pages. And by the time he posted that, he said check out my card CEO jumped in with a statement. It seems like they've pulled all the cards from the 3 main accounts involved as well, because this post goes to show all of these allegedly trimmed cards were posted on different accounts. And it goes through all the details again, like we've talked about before. But ComC actually went on and yanked all the cards off the site. So with a little bit I heard around some scuttlebutt, there's going to be an announcement coming soon from ComC about alleged trimmers and scams and scammers and that kind of stuff that's been unfortunately infiltrating our hobby at a very high rate, or it's been more apparent in the last few months. We always talk about this. We're going to bring up, all of these that we hear about. But Tim from ComC, he posted here, he goes, "Thank you for bringing this to our attention, and thank you to everyone involved in these efforts. We have begun an investigation. We will take the appropriate course of action." And they've already pulled the cards instantly. They didn't hem and haw and sit on their hands. No, they hopped in right off the bat, and they did something about it. And, I met Tim. I mean, first of all, he's got a great name. So let's start there. That's where he is as far as guys, and, all Tims can agree. But he's genuine, and he's a true hobbyist. The man has a weird collection. You listen to our interview. Steph, who's the basketball player he was collecting?
Dragic.
Yeah, Goran Dragic. Of all people, he's a super collector of Goran Dragic, which is awesome, which tells you he's not chasing the superstars. He's a true collector, and he had a great story about it.
Well, sure, it'd be like collecting Ron Gand.
Yeah. Or, like why collect Lynette Woodard? So he's a true client, and so he believes in this, and that's why he started the site. And so I love the efforts that they're doing. Hey, we're going to go and run this down. We're going to figure out what's happening. So, hopefully we'll have, and then once they make the announcement, we'll definitely share it with all of you, and have that out. So I just wanted to let you guys know about that. We've talked ad nauseum about trimmers and shill bid ears and all this crap lately, and I just want to talk about fun stuff in the hobby. But why we're all pumped up, Ben usually is the guy ranting and raving. Last week, I lost my mind a little bit, but this week, Steph has caught the bug. Steph, you have an issue with the 2019 Allen and Gensler 1-of-1s.
I do. Specifically from the Ginter X series, and I'm pulling up an image here. So, essentially, it boils down to this is a set that me and Angela have loved since it came out. It's got really super popular right around the time that we jumped back into the hobby. But my main issue with the set is that in the past, the first time they tried doing on-card numbering, they wrote in Sharpie or pen on the back. And that's cool. That's great. But what's to stop any schmuck from grabbing a pen and writing 1 of 25 on the back? So the next year, they changed the ink on the back so that the ink was red, or it had a different logo, so it was clearly delineated from the base looking mini cards, right? Great for counterfeit purposes, unless someone gets a sheet, and nobody else can just write 1 of 25 on the back of a card. Well, this year, in their infinite wisdom, they decided, that they were going to go back to the plain back design here and just write 1 of 1 in Sharpie, or in this case, I guess in pen. And that was enough for them. Now, yes, sure, the front design is a slightly different color, and yeah, maybe that's your way of delineating it. But if the back is where you're going to write the number, my theory is that's where the actual change and variation, if you will, from the base mini should be. Look, if you're going to run and put out 50 different parallels of something, either A, label it clearly in the same spot on each of the parallels, or B, put these so that it's clearly noticeable that there's a difference and that you know what you have. So that way, much like the previous topic, buyers know what they're buying from sellers, and they know the sellers know what they have. And we can make informed decisions about what we want to purchase and what we want to add to our collection, or to make prospecting purchases. And this came about because of a Jerkson Profar A's 1 of 1 that popped up as I was identifying at work. Because I was looking at it, and I see the back, and I was like, that's counterfeit. It looks like the front image, but the back just has a sharp, and it would be different if they had serial stamping like they do in regular products. But this was with a Sharpie. On this one, it's in pen. Okay, well, which is it now?
Yeah.
I love it.
So, no. Do it all uniformly. Here's what it is. Make it all the same, please.
Here, guys.
And if you're going to label it
back of these cards.
No, seriously, they ran out of red ink, and they're like, "Hey,
here's a pencil.
Hey, can you hand me that pen?"
My hand's sore. Tag me in, bro. Tag me in. I got a Sharpie. Let's go.
It's dumb. It's dumb.
They're literally got a pen cup in the middle of the conference room table, and they're just grabbing a pen. Oh Jesus! And it's
snag one.
That Rizzo. I mean, they've done platinum 1 of 1s and all kinds of stuff, throughout the years. That 1 of 1 is a standalone. You don't need any kind of marking. If you don't want to put a stamp saying 1 of 1, don't put anything at all. You don't need one.
Yeah, it'd be even cooler if it wasn't numbered.
I know. I know it's 1 of 1. I know.
All right. Just dumb. I can't. So this weekend, it was my first show as a dealer, and I needed some. And Ben and I had been talking about doing this for a bit at our local show here at the Crown Plaza Hotel. And I was lucky enough to score 2 tables, and so Ben and his dad joined me, and we shared the table. I mean, I had 9 feet of the 12, and I let them have like 3 feet. Ben had been set up some team sets and some dollar cards and a mixed box of over dollar cards, and his dad had a shit ton of like 60s and 70s non-sport, like Beatles, Monkeys. There was Batman, Superman TV show cards. I mean, there was a good amount of stuff that nobody else really had at the show. And so a lot of people stopped by and chatted with him and us just because of those cards. That was pretty cool.
He did well. He sold about $40. Most of them were $1, $2 cards.
But I think he spent the money. I think he took his profits and spent it really quick.
What was cool about it, 100%, what was cool about it was there was young kids.
Oh, that kid that brought all the Elvis cards.
Yeah, Elvis cards. Batman cards were obviously popular.
Yeah.
But like, I think it was Elvis cards. He picked out like 3 or 4, and my dad's like, you can have 6 for $5. And the dad pulls out $5, hands it to my dad, and says, all right, he'll take 6.
Yeah.
They were young kids looking at the non-sports.
Yeah,
and I was just like,
with his sister. And plus, too, there were a lot of kids under 12 there.
12, yeah, probably.
Yeah, we had quite a few stop by the table. I mean, I probably sold I'm rough guessing, this is a rough estimate, probably close to 2,000 cards. I don't know if you guys saw the photos, but I had them out there. I had quarter cards, and then it was 5 for $1 or 100 for $15. I had a guy spend 2 hours digging through for 200 cards for $30. Another guy that was there for like an hour with him, and he pulled out he did 100. I had a gal and her mom. They did 100. It was a lot of fun to do. But the big question is when I post the photos, a lot of people got after me, and here Steph has them up. was, hey, dividers go in the front. And so we put out a poll. Dividers go in the front of the section of cards or behind. So if you have, like teams, like I had all of the baseball teams, and I put all the team cards, and then I put Detroit Tigers, then all the team cards and Houston Astros. 65 people said in the front, 35 behind. There was 40 people that voted. 65 of you were dumb. You're wrong. It goes behind, not in front.
If I'm standing at your table, because obviously I was, right, and I want to look.
Well, you weren't actually at the table. You're out talking to everybody. You weren't working.
Okay, but for the couple minutes I was behind the table taking a break. If I'm looking at your Oakland A's, I expect when I see your Oakland A's tab, I expect all the cards in front to be Oakland A's.
Yes, that's the only way.
If I grab the stack behind the Oakland A's, I'm going to go ahead and assume that it's the Philadelphia Phillies come in alphabetical order.
So wrong.
I'm going to assume that stack behind the A's is the Phillies in front of that Phillies marker. That's the way it is. Anybody that says otherwise, it must be like a Midwest thing or something. Out here on the West Coast, we do it the right way. We put the cards in front.
I'm taking this shirt off. Korean cardboard says front.
So for what it's worth, I do kind of agree with Nick here. As long as there's a clear system, it doesn't really matter. But if I go to pull, I see the Twins marker and I pull everything behind it, and those are the Royals, for example. And I reach in front and grab the Twins, and those are the Twins. Hey, I don't care. Found
it. I don't. Doug fully the first time. One of the few times he fully disagrees with me. Well.
So the entire chat room is wrong, apparently, but they're doing it together. I admire their tenacity and their commitment to being wrong together on this hill.
Stand there in their wrongness.
So Nick's right, though. I mean, front, back. Tim and I were talking about this earlier in the week.
Photos that I took. I mean, I do have to say, no, and the thing was I from other dealers, they were so thankful how organized I was. And about my signs, and I actually use the font from 87 Tops, which is the nerd in me. So
let me ask you this: if you see a line in a row, say people standing in line at Subway, are you going to count from the first person in the front of the line, or are you going to count from the person in front of you? How many people were in front of you?
I'm just going to mute Steph now.
So our friend Matt. Our former friend Matt in the chat room asked me in the book that I'm writing if I place the chapters at the back or at the front of the. Okay, so in America, we're the only ones that read left to right, are we not? Everywhere else, they read right to left. Okay,
I know some of the Asian languages choose to do it that way.
Anyway, we're getting away from it. I want to continue. I just thought it was a funny debate, and
it is. And Nick's right. Like I was saying, is Tim asked me, certain players, would you put them with the team, or as an A's fan, pull out the McGuires and the Cansecos and Matt Chapmans and everybody else kind of stick.
Yeah, I kind of went through and pulled out stars and guys I thought would do well, and those are a big hit. So,
and if I'm in your box, as long as I know that I look in front of the A's, I look behind the A's and figure out which one.
Around my box. Let's get in there.
Everywhere. I had my hands in there.
Yeah, so it was a really good show turnout. So there was another dealer named Tim. He was a first time dealer as well, and he was right across from us. I'm going to call him Flea Market Tim.
Correct.
We should have gotten photos, but it looked like a local flea market. He had tons of totes, plastic storage totes from Target, full of, I'm going to say, memorabilia stuff. It wasn't priced. It wasn't organized. It was not eye appealing. It looked like someone had taken their garage. When you're cleaning out your garage and you set all the crap from your garage in the driveway while you sweep it out and whatever. That's exactly what it looked like. And one of the other dealers who owns a card shop locally came by and said, "Hey, when did the flea market set up in here?" And I agreed. I looked, and it was, he had like 5 or 6 cartfuls of stuff come in, and I don't know how well he did, but there was not a lot of people over there, not a lot of people digging through his bins of stuff.
Yeah, it was so disorganized. His wife, after the show, because it's at a hotel where you get the luggage carts to help you move, and
Right.
she had made a comment to another dealer at the next show. I'm going to limit him to one cart, and I started laughing. And I don't know if she saw me, but I was just thinking maybe if he was limited to one cart, he had 2 tables. One cart might allow you to spread it out. I'm not digging. I'm sure the guy had stuff. Some pretty good memorabilia, although it looked like a lot of the stuff was from the 80s. Yeah. It looked very old and dated, but he had, do you remember that Jackie Robinson photo? It was like how big was that? Like a 16 by 20 of Robinson sliding into home plate. I mean, it was gorgeous. It was a canvas, I believe. Yeah. It's like, if he has that, what else does he have? I don't know.
Well, then he had that poker chip. He had that poker chip with like a royal flush framed.
Yeah. And our friend Anthony on Twitter, Anthony S. Corona, he was there, and he had made a comment. He didn't stop either because it was one of those ones where you just felt discouraged. I'm not even going to stop because I don't have the time. We were there all day. Yeah. Anthony was there probably, whatever, half hour maybe of his day. But how long was it going to take for you to go through there? And if you're looking for something specific, or even worse, you don't know what you're looking for, you'd have to look.
You have to tell him it was at the table. And his wife didn't know what the prices were. So.
What a mess.
Ben had a fun experience from a dealer there. Ben went over to buy some cards, and so the old dealer pulls out the phone and goes on eBay to look up the prices to know what to charge Ben for set cards. He did the same to me, and I kind of was like, I was buying a traded set. And it was like $3. I was like, and I said, all right, well, here's the $3, whatever. It's the one thing I bought that day.
I was standing with our friend Brian Bice, and Brian is looking to complete some older stuff. And he had a box of unopened wax from like, say 89 Donruss or something. Okay. And Brian's like, what do you have on the box? And Brian and I are just kind of casually BSing. And he pulls out his phone. And he's like, the last 2 sold on eBay for $8 and $20, so I'll sell it to you for I don't know, 10. And Brian looks at me and like, what do you think? And I'm like, I said, I got something to tell you. Let's walk over here for a minute. And we just walked away. It's like, at the end of the day, I was bored. Everybody's starting to kind of clean up, and I walked over there and started flipping through. He has monster boxes full of cards, and he happened to have a 2017 Archives Matt Olson red parallel numbered out of 25. Sitting there right in the front of the row. So I'm like, I know I don't have that. What do you got on it? I'm thinking $5 to $7 is what it would sell for at auction. We're at a show, maybe I'd pay 10. And he looks and he goes, last one sold for 25. And he goes, I'll give it to you for 20. And the only reason I waited while he looked was because I was just dumbfounded at the fact that this fool didn't have anything priced. And he's going to try to sell to me off of eBay prices. I'm like, dude, I didn't get dressed, drive across town, sit there to pay eBay prices. I could have stayed in my jammies and paid eBay prices. By the way, I could not find the listing that he allegedly was looking at. I looked it up later just to see. But I guarantee you, if he put that on, and that's the thing, go home with it. You're part of the traveling museum. You're not here to sell.
Yeah. No, so yeah, it was
the best thing. One more thing. The best thing was he's like, that's a popular card. Everybody's been asking about it today. Well, no kidding, because everybody's laughing at you. Nobody's bought it because you're overpriced. But
yeah, that's the one thing that's for us. Like, we're going to get into a little bit about trading card show etiquette, and we're going to do a bigger thing on this. I think a post is going to come. We're all going to collaborate on. But we were talking to a couple of the other dealers, and
there was a female dealer that she asked me about the T-shirt. She goes, "You have your own podcast," and she was sharing the little square circle. She was part of our little area of dealers, and she just kept talking to us all day long about the podcast. And man, did she have some choice words when somebody put a heavy ass case on their glass case.
Yeah,
and she's like, "When are you doing that? Because I've got some things to say. Do not do this and do not do that." And
leaning on showcases, putting your fingers all over it, not necessary. Always wanting a better deal, trying to bring. I mean, it's always nice to if someone's got $5 on a card. Hey, will you take 4 for it, or will you take 20 cents for it? This is what I'm talking about.
Not everybody can ban it.
Yeah, the more I buy, the more. Yeah, I'm good with that. But it's not a garage sale. We're not looking just to liquidate stuff.
Yeah, the other thing too is being a dealer is talk to the people walking up, the potential customers, greet them and say hello. And if you have any questions, let me know. I think I did that to 95% of the people that walked up. I tried to say that. And if you have any, let me know. And I always would try to say, hey, the more you buy, the better the deal, and I said, never hurts to make an offer. And, because I hate when I go up to a table and someone doesn't greet me and nothing's priced. And now I'm like, I feel like I'm looking through their underwear drawer while they're in the bedroom with me.
Right.
It feels dirty and doesn't feel right and doesn't feel good. So I walk away, even though there might be something I want to spend my money on.
Oh, and don't be the guy. There was a guy over in the corner, and I bought some vintage cards from him, some 1950 Topps war cards, Freedom War. But I walked over there later in the day, and he had a strip of 1984 Star George Brett uncut. There were 3 of them on the strip. So I thought, all right, cool. A couple bucks, I'll buy it for Tim, right? And I was like, what do you have on the Brett? And he's like, mind you, it was in a big plastic tub, loose, unprotected, so the corners can get dinged and everything. It was not in the greatest condition, and it was a little discolored. And he's looking at it, and he goes, I don't know, $10? And I'm like, I'm good. He goes, $5? And I'm like, I'm set it back down, I start walking away. I'm like, nah, I'm good. And I'm just like, how do you go from $10 to $5 like that?
Yeah.
It's like, you're willing to take $5, so start me at $5. You were just about to charge me 200% of what you were okay taking a second ago, because if I'd have pulled out a $10 bill, you would have been happy to take that and not give me $5 change.
Yeah.
It's like, you knucklehead.
Yeah. And then too, the flea market dealer we had a chair in front of our table because we had a couple of the older guys in there and they were going through the boxes. So we had a chair out in front so they go through the boxes a little easier. He takes the chair, sits on it, and sits there and drinks his coffee in front of my table in front of all my cards. Now it was later in the show and it wasn't busy.
He had nowhere else to sit.
His wife even said something to him, and he just sat there with a dumb look on his face, and it's like, hey, have some respect. That's the one thing. The other thing we've talked about is body odor and bad breath. So somebody asked me, can you be a collector and a dealer at the same time? And I don't consider myself a dealer. I had a table, I was selling cards, and I truly believe you can, because all the cards I had for sale, I had no sentimental value attached to, even though some of them I'd had for 30 years. I've really defined down my collection in the last few years, and even more so after the show on Sunday or Saturday. I thought about it, and I was like, I really just like collecting my 2 teams and some certain players, and I like rookie cards, base rookie cards. I don't care about autographs. If I get a good autographs and it can make me money and let me buy other rookie cards, that's what I do. So why do I need second and third year cards of guys I don't really collect, but I like the rookie cards of them? So it made me rethink it. But I want to know what you guys think. Can a collector also be a dealer? Do you agree with me, or am I wrong?
There's nothing wrong with saying that you collect, but you also sell. If you're going to buy a product, you're going to have a bunch of stuff that you probably don't want, unless it's your all-time absolute favorite set ever, and nobody loves 1991 Fleer that much. So yes, you can sell stuff and be a dealer and also collect certain things. Set, team, player, doesn't matter. There are wiser ways to go about doing that, both as a seller and both as a collector. But I think that you can split it. Yeah, sure, you're probably going to be one more than the other, but there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Ben?
Tell me I'm wrong.
No. You're yes, you're wrong. So with what you were doing, you're just moving a bunch of dead inventory, right? What you're basically doing is what our friend Mike Summer does, where you're creating a self-sustaining hobby.
Well, that was just one example.
Yeah, you're moving dead inventory that you have no desire to PC. The reason that I say you can't have a simultaneous, you simultaneously can't be a hobby and an investment, therefore you can't be a hobby and a dealer, is what happens when something in your quote unquote PC appreciates beyond the anticipated value. And the next thing you know, well, shoot, I can make a lot of money on this item. That's when it becomes a difference. When you've got to start to sell stuff off to cover your costs, or if a card, again, appreciates beyond its anticipated value, next thing you know, you put yourself in a position where you might compromise the integrity of your collection side. And that's why it can't simultaneously happen.
The one thing I would say where that's not right, I disagree a little bit, is say I collected Padre minor league cards.
Right.
And I had a couple of those Keith Comstock cards.
Right.
Well, I know last week I could buy them for $quarter all day long, but now they're $150. I'm going to sell all of those cards out of my PC. And then later on, when the market drops out, even if it falls to $10 a card, I can now go buy back all of those cards and made all of that money to add more cards to that said PC.
So to kind of go back to something we mentioned earlier in the show about the Panini first off the line that came up and crashed their website. Somebody who had got at least a box that I'm aware of had tagged our friend Ivan over at Go GTS and said, "Hey, would you consider selling if you have one? Because you're buying them for what, $160, and you're able to sell them for $1,000." At least that's what they were being asked of this morning when the tweet came out. And Ivan retweeted it probably to get other people to respond. And I responded. I simply asked him, I said, "What'd you buy the box for? Like what was your purpose behind it?" "I'm buying this box because," if you're buying it to open and to hopefully break even, sell everything and make money, you sell that unopened box yesterday, right? And he's like, kind of, I want to collect. If I get something cool, I'll keep it. If not, I'll sell everything. And it's like, okay, then I would still sell it, because the amount of profit is going to be so immense. You can pay yourself back and use all of the profits to buy all of the stuff you want out of this product on a secondary market and probably have money left over. So, it's a very subjective line. There's really no true right or wrong answer. Yes, I'm always going to take a hard line because of my background, but also a lot of it too, it creates debate and conversation. And you have to have somebody on both sides of that debate in order for it to be beneficial for everybody, as long as it's handled with respect. I don't think you can invest and be a hobbyist. By definition, they are not one and the same. They are conflicting by definition. A dealer is a little different, because I see that more in the self-sustaining side than the investing side.
No, I understand that point. Once the Cub here said, "I'd rather trade, but the way I collect, very rarely do I find somebody that has what I want and have something comparable they want, end up selling." And a lot of people agreed with that. I'm working on a deal with our buddy Shane Salmonson. He's got a bunch of cards, Royals and Giants, and he's looking for some Red Sox, and we're going to try to figure something out. And that's a fun trade.
Great guy. Check out his Beckett post. I'm plopping it in chat now.
Nice. And it leads us to another question. I kind of put these all together. Can you be a fan of two teams and/or players? If so, can they be in the same division or league? So everybody knows I'm a Giants, I'm a Royals fan. And Ben's brought this up. Everybody's brought this up before. It's where I grew up, when I grew up, and having to move and pick a new team because I couldn't see my local team on TV. So do you guys think that's possible?
I would say yes. It's a lot easier if you're picking an American League and a National League team for baseball's sake, or Eastern Western Conference football and not football, but hockey and basketball. It's a lot easier doing it that way. But even with players like a 98, you could easily have collected Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, both in the same division, separate teams.
So you couldn't be like an Astros fan and an A's fan?
No. God, no.
Probably couldn't. Okay, so if you want to go Astros, Rangers and Astros.
You can't. You cannot. Okay. Let me say about
I ain't saying you could, Ben, because we
No,
both know you would
I don't
collect
think you-
neither the Rangers or the Astros.
You cannot. Okay, screw it. I'm just a Mariners, A's, Astros, Rangers, and all of them fan, right?
Sure,
Come
you're a
on.
California fan.
Come on.
So
Get out of here with that
I used to
nonsense.
get in this fight with my dad because we were from Kansas and we were KU fans, and he would root for K-State in certain things and go, "You cannot root for K-State, Tim. They're a Kansas team. You got to root for your Kansas teams." I said I can root for Wichita State and KU. I cannot, because they're not rivals in anything. You cannot root for Kansas and Kansas State at the same time.
Well, then let me ask this. Does it matter? Does it depend on the sport? So, like, fans of Auburn obviously aren't going to be collecting Alabama cards.
Correct.
But for baseball, A's and Giants.
You know, it's I just asked Matt, our friend, who's a Cubs fan, if he can also like the White Sox. So the simplest thing is, as long as they're in opposite conferences or leagues.
I don't believe you can be an A's and Giants fan. I'm sorry. Those idiots
Padres, Giants.
Yeah. So you can have, I like the Expos growing up, National League team. I had nothing to do with the A's. The only time they didn't even play in interleague play because it didn't exist. It's the World Series or bust. That's it. You can't be an A's and Giants fan. You can't like the White Sox and the Cubs, the Mets and the Yankees. You can't because of the regional rivalries that have split there, right? Can you be a Yankees and a Red Sox fan at the same time?
You're an idiot.
Only in your home. Because if you walk outside with some stupid stuff
You're
like
gonna get beat. Aaron says he likes the A's and the Giants. I might have cost us a listener.
Okay, so here's one thing I want to say. Okay, I grew up in the Sacramento area. I became a Spurs fan. I'm sure I've told that story of how I became a Spurs fan. I still, right, because they were so great back in '93. But
anyway,
I still root for the Kings, not actively like I'm winning, living and dying by the standings. I want to see the city do well. I don't root for the Kings against anybody. It's just, hey, if they do well, independent of my fandom, I'm glad that they've done well. I would like to see them make the playoffs. I think it would be fantastic for our city, for our local community, for the surrounding communities. I think this area, this region needs their success. I think that they're dying for the success, and it's a very motivated and passionate fan base. I don't look at that standing and go, man, the Kings won. Yes. If I look at the standings and they're doing well, it's like, hey, good for them. I'm glad the local fans have a winner. They're a very young and exciting team with Fox and Bagley and all of them. The Kings are going to be a force here in another season or two, if not this upcoming season. And that's going to be great. I don't root for them to the Spurs' detriment. And if the Spurs and the Kings are playing, it's not like, well, either one can win. I really don't care. They're both cut that out.
okay. This is weird. I just saw this. Cream Cardboard. I'm a Bears fan, but I collect Sterling Sharp, Chris Carter, and Herman Moore. All guys that tore apart the Bears in the 90s. Thanks.
Well, he saw it firsthand. He's like, man, that guy.
Okay. Wish they were on my team. I got Tom Waddle out here.
Well, so I know I don't drop this point, but in that we had Upper Deck on earlier, and hockey's starting up soon. Fuck Dallas, fuck Norm, but at the same time, I can also root for the Dallas Stars because they're local, and Minnesota's only in town 3, 4, 5, 6 times a year. I can also root for the Winnipeg Jets because technically they're closer to my hometown, but they're not in my home state. And then, sure, the Anaheim Mighty Ducks, I didn't stutter, came from a Disney movie about a local Minnesota youth hockey team. So, I pull for all three of those teams when they're not playing the Wild.
Anyway, I was going to pick the Dallas Stars to root for just to give you a hard time.
As long as you understand, fuck Norm.
I would have Norm all over my jersey. It would just say Dallas Norms.
As long as it's the Norm from that 80s
cheers.
TV show.
Cheers. Oh, God. That 80s. Tell me
You're
who
welcome.
Jerry Seinfeld is, though, real quick.
I actually haven't watched the series, but yes, I know who Jerry Seinfeld
How about
is.
Friends?
Friends is on Netflix. I've seen it.
Oh, my God.
It's an interesting topic, and one that was actually brought up by our show friend Cardboard Icons, because Ben lives in the Bay Area and he goes to a lot of A's games, and his son is getting into cards, and he's kind of an A's fan, and
unfortunately, I think he's becoming an A's fan.
He's developing, and Ben is a self-admitted Red Sox fan, loves the Red Sox,
but he also collects Clayton Kershaw.
He does.
So he was at a World Series game when the Dodgers were playing the Red Sox,
and so that had to be kind of surreal. But Ben, I keep ragging on Ben every time because it's like, dude, there's no way you're not an A's fan. You go to games all the time, and granted it's local, but you could also go to San Francisco Giants games just as well. And
more affordable, and especially with taking kids.
But he posed the question. He's like, I have a serious problem calling myself an A's fan because they're in the same league as the Red Sox. And he goes, I'm not an A's fan because I enjoy the team and I root for the team when I go, and I support them financially when I go, and so on and so forth. He goes, but it wouldn't be fair to true A's fans if I were to call myself one, because I believe in the word fan and fanatic, and there's some integrity there. And I think we want to have him on maybe on another Sunday show, which we've had him before, and we can talk about this much more at length because it's an interesting topic. I mean, I felt terrible yesterday when I'm like, all right, the A's and the Rays and the Indians are all fighting. Who are the Rays playing? They're playing the Astros. And I'm just like, guess I'm an Astros fan today. Son of a gun, and
talking about A's fans, our buddy at Bice Music, Brian Bice, posted this on Sunday, this tweet. We want to share it, and we're going to help support this.
Absolutely.
Brian's near and dear to us as a friend, as a local collector. He's a really, really genuinely nice person, and he had some family tragedy earlier this year. And today, Sunday, is Carmen's 8th birthday. Even though she's no longer with us, we will continue to celebrate her life and spirit. Please read for some exciting news that my wife at MBiceD 1345 and I are planning. They're going to start a Carmen's Angel Fund, and this will be a charitable fundraising group that will focus on raising money for various children's charities and the Hydrocephalus Association. Their first fundraising event will take place November 14th. We will participate in the Hydro Association Walk in Fresno. Many details about this event and fundraising group will be coming soon. I just wanted to take an opportunity to announce this new venture that Melissa and I are starting. I've met Melissa as well. She's a very kind person. And let's Brian collect cards. And there's a picture of Brian and his daughter, Carmen. So we're going to do everything we can to support Brian and Melissa in any efforts that they do. So we will keep you posted. And I know, if you don't follow Brian, you should. One, he's a hell of an A's collector. I mean, right after Ben, I think he's probably one of the biggest A's collectors that I'm aware of. He's a season ticket holder of the Ports. He's out there meeting the players all season long. So he sees these guys before they make the majors and knows about them. It's great.
So Brian and Melissa are some of the most genuine, and caring people. I can't say enough about them. I mean, obviously, we're good friends with them, and I've had them in my home. We've went on road trips. Tim and I went on road trips with Brian to the card shop and stuff, and they're just good people. You can't say enough nice things. So if you're not friends with Brian, definitely give him at Bice Music a follow. Support their cause. And their daughter was just absolutely magical. She was a wonderful little girl, and
take it tremendously too early. It's really
it's unfortunate, and anything we can do for their family, we would absolutely
So we're going to support them in every way. So look for us to do that and talk about that. So, guys, we've had a long show tonight, and I appreciate everyone hanging out with us and understanding the tech difficulties we had early on. It's not going to translate great on the podcast, but We appreciate that, and I'm agreeing with Jake from NorCal. He says the Foo Fighters are better than Nirvana.
They are
1,000% true. Foo Fighters.
I mean,
Foo Fighters if Kurt Cobain hadn't passed away. So.
Our first dance at the wedding was Everlong. So,
it's a great song. Any final thoughts before we head out, fellas?
Yeah, many thanks to Chris Carlin and everybody, their entire team over at Upper Deck. We really appreciate them reaching out and making Chris available. Huh?
And listening to the show. So
listening to the
absolutely.
show. They had nothing but kind words to say about us, and we can't tell you how humbled and flattered we are that they listen and that they're supportive. And we can't wait to have any of their other staff on that would like to come on. And of course, we'd love to have Chris back on, and hopefully we can have better audio, and maybe we'll reach out to him on a weekend when we can have a whole hour with him and we can talk. Cause I'm sure that as soon as we said, if anybody in the chat room has questions, the chat room lit up. So
that was fun.
We would absolutely love to have them on again.
Well, remember, we're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 Central on YouTube. And we're also on Facebook Live and on Periscope. Make sure to subscribe and review on our show on all platforms. We appreciate it. Follow us on Twitter at About the Cards. Follow Ben at Our Trading Cards. Follow Steph at Junkwax Twins. You can always follow me at Big Shep 79. Please share your hobby stories, great pulls, and any questions you have our way. We appreciate that. We appreciate all the kind words. Coastal Astros 72. That's awesome. Aaron, thanks for hanging out. Doug, I appreciate all the stuff about telling Steph how he's wrong and he's from Minnesota. He can't like Winnipeg, which is great, but they have a cool logo. But yeah, keep collecting, guys, and we will talk to you next week. See ya.
Talk to you guys then.
Night.